Hello, hello everyone. It's Darlene Willman along with my co-host April Morris Sadoon. We apologize for a little bit of delay on the Google Hangout. We're still trying to master how to time everything. We have our introduction that is broadcasting on the Accomplished Radio Show. So as you know, if you've been tuning in, you're also getting a chance to also be on our radio show. So we're doing both of these simultaneously, and I'm trying to control this in the best way possible. But everything's going great. We have a special guest this week, Stacey Robbins, who's actually one of our students from our Partner and Promote Training Intensive, and she is the author of You're Not Crazy and You're Not Alone. And Stacey has done so much. She's been a speaker, she's an author, she does coaching, she does special retreats. You know, she's just done an amazing job in helping other people get through some difficult times in, I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that Stacey has is just such a great sense of humor. So let me go ahead without any further ado and give a warm welcome to our guest today, Stacey Robbins.
Thank you so much. Hello, cute girls. How are you?
Wonderful. So glad to have you on with us today.
Thank you. I live in a place where it's not snowing, so I'm really glad to be here with you. Remote.
Yeah, she's out in sunny California.
Yeah, we're glad to be living vicariously through your warm weather.
Yes. You can come visit any time. You know that.
Excellent.
So we're going to have a good time today. We're basically just going to have a conversation. We're not even going to think about the fact that we're broadcasting on a radio show. We're not going to think about the fact that we're streaming a live video through our Google Hangout, which, by the way, if you are just tuning into our radio show, you can go and watch our live video feed at hangoutwithaprilanddarlene.com. And if you're listening to the replay of our radio show, you can also see the replay, or if you want to go and watch the video of this special hangout today, make sure you go to our website, innovateandaccomplish.com, and you can see all of our previous hangouts that we do. We do this every week, every Thursday at the same time, and we bring on different guests or we have different conversations. So let's jump right in. So Stacey, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a mom, a wife, a author, speaker. I have like all these little things after my name that I do and I am and I love to be. I started off in a totally different career. I started off doing music professionally around the country since I was like 15 years old. I had wanted to work in a department store on a cash register because I just thought that was the end-all be-all when I was 15, and I went to my parents and I asked them if I could, and they were like, no, you have a gift in music. You can get a job in music if you're going to work. And very unlike most parents who are trying to steer their kids away from the arts, my parents really just acknowledged the gifts and drove me down to a country club where my dad played golf and they needed a piano player. And so I started at 15 years old playing piano and doing that and traveling around the country. And so I started in music and went to songwriting and then went into speaking and eventually authoring. And so I kind of do all of those things. I'm married to Rock for this year is our 25th wedding anniversary, believe it or not. I know I'm young and just fabulous.
Wow, congratulations.
Married at 12.
Congratulations.
I know, thank you. I know. 25
Maybe we'll have you
years.
back on the air again when we do discussions around long-term marriages.
I'll bring my best self there. But anyway, yeah, sometimes it's just hanging on for dear life. That's my big advice. No, it's really wonderful. And then we have two boys who are 9 and 11, Caleb and Seth. And so we have a good time with them. That's a little bit about me.
They're adorable. So
thank you. I call them... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I call them my long-haired hippie boys. They love having their hair long. So they're cute.
That's perfect for California surfer kind of dudes, right?
Totally. Totally, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, let's move into, tell us a little bit about your book. I know we mentioned that earlier, but here's what I found about authors that feel driven to write a nonfiction book, I discovered that what fuels them or drives them to write it is because there's something that happened in their life that they experienced that was a really hard struggle, something that they had to get through, that they finally found the way out or found an easier way to cope with it or deal with it, whatever it was that they went through. And that's what inspired them to write the book. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write your book. You know, what's happened in your life that made you say, you know, I've got to help people with this.
Thank you. Yeah, that really is my motivation so much. The book, first of all, is called You're Not Crazy and You're Not Alone. And then I picked, I think, the longest subtitle in history. It's Losing the Victim, Finding Your Sense of Humor, and Learning to Love Yourself Through Hashimoto's. People go, what's Hashimoto's? Sounds foreign. It kind of is, but what happened is Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease where your body attacks your thyroid. And so I went through a bunch of years of symptoms several years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I was having all these symptoms during a really hard time in my life, a very stressful time in my life, a very overworking, highly productive, huge impact time in my life. I mean, having an opportunity to do something for Celine Dion and having an opportunity to do something that helped with the situation in Sudan through a CD project. I mean, I had all these really big, wonderful, good things going on in my life, making a difference. But then there was all this hard stuff behind the scenes, and I think all the good stuff and the hard stuff kind of converged into this really stressful situation for me. And I think that my body just couldn't handle it. And it became a trigger. That stress became a trigger, which is often what happens when people get into a diagnosis with Hashimoto's. So what happened was it took about 2 years to get that diagnosis. So I went around feeling terrible, gaining weight, being exhausted, being 27 years old and just not having the energy that somebody my age would and should probably have. And I was like, wow, what's wrong with me? Well, I went to the doctors with what's wrong with me, and the doctors really didn't have answers. And I was gaining more and more weight. And so you start looking at your outside and going, I don't look anything like myself anymore. I don't feel like myself. And it just starts this whole churning conversation inside, as well as you dealing with the things that are changing in your life on the outside. So I went on a very interesting journey to discover through some really great stories what I had, and I ended up with a diagnosis of Hashimoto's, and I became a student of this dis-ease. And I don't call it a disease, I call it a dis-ease, because I really think that my body is saying, I'm not at ease with myself. I'm attacking myself. So I say it that way, just to remind myself that my body's manifesting what has been going on inside for a long time. I have a dis-ease with myself. So anyway, and that's just my little maybe quirky or unique thing, but that's how I kind of label it. Anyway, point is that I've learned so much through the process the last almost 20 years, and about 5 years ago I started joining Facebook groups where there were other people with Hashimoto's and other people who were dealing with those symptoms. And I had gathered so much information that when women came and said, oh my gosh, I was just diagnosed, where do I start? I was like, oh my gosh, how about I shortcut you to some of the easiest ways to feeling better and to getting better? And how about I bypass you past all the doctors who say they don't know to some people who really do know right now and can get you feeling better faster? And after a few years of doing that, women just asked me, would you put this together in something that I can read in one place? And I got inspired. I got inspired by the need of others and the experience I had, and I put them together in a book. So that's how that book came about.
Yeah, I knew that there was something. I mean, typically that's what happens is there's something hard that you went through, you learned from it, and then you want to help others because you're like, hey, I finally figured this thing out, or I can help make it better in some way. What are the specific symptoms that you had? Because I know that sometimes Hashimoto's is the autoimmune disease, but what are the symptoms specifically that you had that were common that other people experience as well?
There are literally hundreds and hundreds of symptoms, but some of the ones that I experienced were Like I said, weight gain, depression, sleep interruptions. Either it was feeling tired all the time, but by the time you had to put your head down on the pillow, you couldn't go to sleep and you had insomnia, anxiety, an inner restlessness. Sometimes it was tremors. I had skin disruptions, things. My skin would literally bleed spontaneously as if someone had pricked me with a pin. I mean, I would touch my skin and there'd be blood there. I ended up, because I went so long being misdiagnosed, I ended up having some really extreme situations. Your hair can get brittle and dry. If you go to the hairstylist and you get your hair colored and it doesn't color to the right hue that you wanted, sometimes that's your thyroid being out of whack. And because you need your body to be the right temperature in order for your hair to be the right color. Now, it took me a while to learn that, but that is one of the symptoms too. Not growing hair fast, like on your legs, or needing to shave. When I was gaining weight and I didn't need to shave, I was like, oh my Lord. I said to my husband, look at me. I am gaining weight faster than my hair can grow. That's not what it was.
Oh my gosh. I'm thinking that not having any hair grow is actually a good thing.
That might be one of the benefits. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the good side effects. Don't look for the positive things that are coming from
I'm gaining weight at the speed of light. I can't even grow hair faster than I can gain weight. Yeah, no, but it wasn't that. It's that your body stopped. So anyway, so those are some of the symptoms. Even having a cold rear end, believe it or not, is one of the symptoms. Having your hands and your feet be cold, your extremities, not being able to get warm. Being sensitive to light and sound. I mean, seriously, I could go on, but we only have 30 minutes. But that gives you an idea of what.
That's amazing that all those symptoms, are happening to you. I'm so sorry to hear that you went through so much. Your body physically just, So when you wrote this book, I mean, were you thinking about, how you could provide some relief for some other people that were going through the same thing that you were?
Yes, I think that I was. I think I was just hearing the need that was there, and I realized I had answered the same questions so many times on these different Facebook groups that have 5,000 people, 15,000 people, and I just thought, well, I could put this all in one place and then say, see this chapter, and make it easy for people and make it easy for myself, because I think once you reach a point, as you know, as a writer or speaker or an influencer, you can't touch every person individually with the amount of time you have, but when you do something that's duplicatable, like putting it in a book form or a video form, you can reach so many more and help so many more with the amount of time and focus and energy you have.
Absolutely. So tell the audience where people can get a copy of You're Not Crazy and You're Not Alone.
Thanks. They can get it on Amazon.com. And you type in You're Not Crazy and You're Not Alone, or you type in Stacey Robbins, and you will see my book on there. And you can get it either in softback or on Kindle.
That's fabulous. And you know what? It's really not just for folks that are experiencing Hashimoto's, because you were saying that there's other people that have read it and were impacted by it. You want to share a little bit about how it affects people that do not have Hashimoto's?
Yeah, thank you so much, because that's a great point. I have been getting so much feedback from people who are saying things like women who are emailing me saying, Stacey, I don't have Hashimoto's, but I heard you speak at this event, and I always loved your stories, or I loved your wisdom, so I got the book. This isn't just for women with Hashimoto's. And they said, I need this. And so actually one of the projects Rock and I are working on right now, based on that, it's actually been a lot of feedback that says, do you have a book that just has the wisdoms? So we're doing a book of the wisdoms from You're Not Crazy and You're Not Alone. And so it's for every woman on the journey to loving herself. But it talks about basic things. Probably the biggest thing that I hear feedback on is chapter 4, and it's about orange cones and lessons in forgiveness, and how I had been to so many doctors who just didn't know the answer, and it would have been really easy to be embittered. It would have been really easy to just, on top of my sickness, carry the weight and the burden of unforgiveness, and I didn't need that. I needed to make this my opportunity, and I was being called to make this my opportunity. So what I did was, one day after leaving a doctor's office where he said to me, you have wasted enough of my time. This is all in your head. And meanwhile, I
Oh.
was sick with infections, and I couldn't have children because Hashimoto's can create infertility. I mean, I had all these physical manifestations, but he was telling me it was all in my head. And I remember sitting in my car, looking in the rearview mirror, saying, "This is not a no. This is a yes waiting somewhere else. This is just an orange cone. He doesn't have to be my answer. Sometimes just being an orange cone is the answer to go around." And that whole picture came to me that in that moment, like a divine inspiration that said, he doesn't have to be the answer. He's an orange cone, which really does make him, in his own way, an answer. I don't have the answer, Stacey. Go around me. There's someone else. And I just felt very strongly that every no is my yes. And if a doctor doesn't have my answer, the answer for me, then he's just an orange cone. I can bless him, I can thank him, and I can go around him, and my answer, my yes, is waiting somewhere else. My solution is waiting somewhere else. And it just kept me from holding unforgiveness towards all those situations that, were painful, and the doctors who didn't have the answers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important to get like a second, third, and maybe even fourth opinion, because sometimes people aren't specialized in that certain area that you're trying to get answers on, so there's no way that they could possibly answer for sure or diagnose you or really see what's going on. And it's important to be open to maybe talking to several people, doctors or, and I think that helps tremendously. So if people were to, go ahead.
I just say I agree with you. I think it's important. And I think also with people who have autoimmune diseases, they have been to 2, 3, or 4 doctors, and they've gotten the same I don't know answer. And so, yes, I agree with you that people do need to go get a couple of different opinions, but also know if they're going down the same path and getting the same answers, sometimes there's another path to go down. That's why I think these Facebook groups have been super valuable, because we can kind of come together and go, hey, I've got this symptom, but my doctor doesn't know what it is. And someone from the group goes, oh, I know, and I've got a different doctor who helped me figure it out. Anyway, I jumped in with a tangent, but go ahead.
Yeah, I totally get that. Some of the symptoms that you were talking about earlier that people can experience, I started thinking, oh my gosh, I think at some point or time I felt those things too, a lot of them. I think there's a lot of women out there that probably have felt these things and passed it off as maybe it's just stress related or hormone related. Maybe they haven't even been diagnosed or even checked it out further to see if there's something that can really be done. It sounds like your book could maybe give them some answers if they've had any of those symptoms to say, maybe I should get this checked out further instead of just sweeping it under the rug and keeping busy with my life.
I think that's a great point, yes. And the book does help with that, because I think when you see symptoms that are relatable, and you've kind of just chalked it up to, oh, I've got a busy life, or this is a busy season, or, this is just the world we live in, and you feel tired and stressed. And I think when you have someone else say, maybe you can shine a flashlight down these symptoms and maybe find a way to support yourself. Maybe your body is needing something a little bit more. Yeah, the book does offer that relief for women as well.
Sure. When people read your book, when they read your book, what exactly do you want them to get out of it? What do you say, hey, you need to read this because this is what you can, the really nuggets of the book? What would that be? If there's any one example that you want to give.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so the way women leave the book and what they experience in the book is they experience that feeling of being understood. Having someone else put words to their thoughts and their feelings that they hadn't known how to express themselves. And when they had expressed themselves, they were treated like they were crazy, and then they felt alone. And that's the whole point of the book, is that I want women to know you're not crazy and you're not alone. And when I tell my story, women see themselves in the story, and that makes them feel understood. And I'll tell you, being understood is half of the healing, because if you feel like you have to fight so hard to let people know how sick you are, you spend your time representing your sickness. And you don't want to spend your energy that way. And when someone understands you, you end up feeling relaxed and relieved, and then you can move on to the healing part and not the defending part. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So when people read my book, they do feel that way. They feel relieved and not alone in this process. And I love that. That's what I wanted.
Well, you're such an inspiration, Stacey. I mean, for you to be experiencing so much physical trauma and then the emotional side, because I'm sure that it put you into a state of depression for a while, and you were probably trying to figure out, okay, how do I lift myself out of this so that I can lift other women out of this, or other men, whoever is more prone to getting this. But how can you really position that out there? And I think you've done a great job. I even the title is fantastic. You're not crazy and you're not alone. And I think that's great that you're able to bring those things to light. Our time is flying by here, and I just want to make sure that we talk a little bit further about perhaps some of your future intentions. What are some things that you're planning on bringing out for the rest of 2014?
It's going to be a big year. Thank you for asking, because I think if I say it out loud, I'm going to then stick to it. So what my 2014 really is about, finding the audience, or I've created this book, so I really want to meet the audience where they are, and I'm learning that with you guys through Partner and Promote, and I think that's wonderful. So one of my things that I really want to do is take my accessibility, because I have the experience, I have the wisdom, I have the insight and the inspiration, and now I'm, like you guys say, there's an audience waiting for you out there who needs what you are bringing. So it's really about that in 2014 for me to meet my audience where they are, and to do that in just the way that I am, authentic and transparent, and just being who I am. And then I also am planning on writing a couple of books of my spiritual journey is going to be out there. It's called God Loves Me, I think, Stories from Hell, Heaven, and the Other Side of Texas. That's coming out in 2014. And then let's see, what else? We just launched our new website of staceyrobbins.com, so there will be a lot of blog and resource there. The first day of spring, I'm starting a 21-day journey of loving yourself, because one of my series is called Love Someone Today and Let It Be You, and I really want women to be in that place of loving themselves, because how you see you affects everything else in your life, affects how you see everybody else and everything else in your life. So I want to help women on that journey and support them in seeing the divine in them, loving who they are. So I've got that and about a million other ideas, which we're going to talk about off camera, because I need your help.
You know what? We should talk about your Bloom Beautiful book also, and your app that you have. Why don't you share a little bit about your Bloom Beautiful app, because that might be a great way for some of the people to get that daily inspiration from you, just a little piece of you. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I wrote a book in 2012 called Bloom Beautiful, and I had it set as an intention in my heart that this would be a great app. And a few months after the book came out, and it sold like 600 copies in the first 3 weeks. I mean, it was crazy. And then we did another reprint, and it was wonderful. It was a book of inspirational quotes with great designs by my friend Susanna Parrish from Texas Sue's Design. Anyway, so I had this intention in my heart, this would be a great app, this would be a great app. And then my friend called me. She owns a marketing company, and she said, Stacey, we would love to build an app for you. We love your book. And it's my friend August Bryce, and she and her husband Hal, they own, that's my vitamin D signal. I have to take my vitamin D. Anyway, they own Hal Bryce Advertising, and they said, we want to do an app because we love your book so much. We have given it out to 60 people. We just believe in it. Would you write a 365-day app? And I was like, oh my gosh, do I have enough inspiration to write 365 days worth? And I called a friend of mine and said, Tracy, do I have enough inspiration? She goes, oh my gosh, yes. The universe is calling. Answer. So I sat down and I wrote 365 days worth, but I broke every month up into a theme and every week up into a journey. And it's really exciting. It's on iTunes. It's in the App Store. And you can download it to your iPhone. And it's just, I'm getting great feedback on that too. Women are loving the daily reminders of who they are. They're loving the moments of practicing stillness. They're loving the thoughtful questions to ponder. So, yeah, I feel happy. There's a lot of good things that happened in 2013 that are out in the world right now that are spreading a lot of love and cheer.
Wow, you've got a lot going on. It's going to be, it is an exciting year already. But I know we're running close to the end of time, but I want to make sure that if you could describe what type of person would really benefit most from your book, from your app, and just from connecting with you.
Oh, the kind of person is a woman who knows she's here for something wonderful in the world. She has that strong sense in her, and she just has, she knows that she needs some help accessing the wonder of who she is so that she can live her happiest and healthiest life. So it's the woman who really is ready and wanting to live her happiest, healthiest life and her greatest purpose. So that's who would benefit most from the book, from the app, and coaching, whatever it is. That's the woman I love, and that's the woman I am, you know? So
yeah, that is who you are for sure. Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, you know, this has been a great discussion today, and, you know, a lot of our listeners here are really eager to get to know you more, Stacey. And, you know, you've just got such a big heart, and again, you're an inspiration to thousands of people out there. What's the best way that you would want people to connect with you?
Thanks. I love when people reach out to me through my website. You can reach me there at staceyrobbins.com. That's with an EY, Stacey with an EY, and Robbins has 2 B's. You can find me on my public profile for Stacey Robbins on Facebook. I love Facebook. I'm slightly addicted. My children are hilarious, and I post often, whether you like it or not. No, yeah. So find me on Facebook. Find me on my website. Go to Amazon.com. And I know, Darlene, you wanted me to hold up my book because and this is my copy. You're not crazy and you're not alone.
That's it.
Look at her. She feels crazy and she feels alone, but she's not. Yeah. So that's how you reach me.
Perfect. This has been a great time speaking with you, and we're so happy that you're able to share more about your book and, of course, your future plans of what you plan on launching and coming out with for 2014. So for the audience, if you are wanting to connect with Stacey, make sure you visit her website, staceyrobbins.com. Also look for her out there on Facebook. But she's got a lot of big plans coming out. If you know of any places that could benefit from booking Stacey as a speaker, make sure that you reach out to her and get connected because she'd be happy to come out and talk to your group, or even go away on a retreat together so that she can really work more on a personal level with you. So we're really grateful that you were able to be here today with us. And April, did you have any final thoughts or things that you wanted to share?
Nope, just want to say we love you, Stacey, and we believe in you, and your message is so powerful for women. I really hope that after, you know, whoever listens to this interview or the replay, they go out and get your book and they connect with you on your website and social media, because you're the real deal. And you have such a great personality and also a sense of humor. They're going to be laughing, so it's good.
You guys are awesome.
Well,
thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It was such a pleasure,
Thanks.
Stacey, and we can't wait to see what your next book is going to be all about. And we love your sense of humor. You just got such a beautiful soul. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Mwah.
Thanks, Stacey.
And make sure you visit us on our website, innovateandaccomplish.com, and you can watch the video of today's Google Hangout with April and Darlene. And join us next week and get a chance to meet some of our other guests. So thanks again for joining us, and thanks for being a part of the Accomplish Radio Show. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.